next session, the second session of this BBN community talk. We been having have been invited some people and trying to invite them every month to come. So we have some been coming, some been counseling, and some understandably have things to say. But I will say this, that when you want things changed in your community, you got to start from somewhere. And one thing that we have to do is we have to be consistent when it comes to community work. Number one, if we want, real change in our community, and when you want real change, you work towards real change. And I believe dialogue starts first. Without dialogue, you can't really do nothing. You got to get understanding through conversations. And I'm going to say a few things before we really get into the topic, is that one of the big problems in our community is that we don't know how to dialogue with one another. We don't know how to agree with one another, or disagree with one another without getting angry and getting upset at one another. And especially with some of the big hot topics like number one, politics. And this is what we're trying to do with this show, is trying to get some dialogue between each other without getting angry, because we all think that we're supposed to think the same way with every single thing. And if we did, it from the beginning, we wouldn't be in the position that we are in as a people anyhow. So you have what they call the left, and you have what they call the right. So what we do, we like to hear at Pillar of Truth, or with this BBN show, we want those of you that are listening or looking to share and to tag, and don't stop. Just like you find a meme on there that you like, and you tag everybody on that meme, or you have to tag. And don't just get angry and don't tag. But the reason for this show is that we have to come to some conclusions to what's going on in our community, about what's going on in our community. We have to have some answers to a lot of the questions. So what we want to do is, we already started in a minute, but we have political different views. They think that every black person is supposed to be a Democrat. And then you have some that's, turned Republicans, and there's been a war between one another, so one don't want to talk to one another, and the politics don't suppose to separate us. We already been separated enough. So not politics, religion separates us as well. People don't stand on the truth, and some people think that they have the truth, and when you talk about religious topics, it becomes a big problem. Religion is a big problem. Not because it's wrong, but because people make it a problem. So in that said, I want to make this clear. I might make it clear every week so people can get an understanding. The term BBN means for Building Black Nation. Now, that does not mean that we are a racial organization. That don't mean that. That's not what we are. So we want to get that out of your head if you're thinking, because some people turn away from you when you start saying anything about black. They start saying you just want to make, especially with those that have racial relationships with people, interracial relationships, you want to think that we passing judgment. We are not the Black Lives Matter. You understand what I'm saying? And neither we did NAACP. But what we started, the vision for this was that as a black people, we need to understand particular things in order to operate in society. And if you go around hating one another, you can't build nothing. Every other culture builds their community, and we don't know how to build ours. So what we're trying to do is to bring light to the African American mind, bring you out of that darkness that we've been in for so many years, thinking that we are always the one that's being mistreated. And I'm not saying mistreatment don't happen, but we always the one that's stumped on and can't get up, and I don't believe that you can't get up. I don't believe that it's as hard as you making it is. Do we have racism out there? Yes, we do. But we have to face it up on. Now, is everybody racist? No, they're not. And with Black Lives Matter or a lot of these other groups trying to tag everybody from other cultures as hating us, everybody hating, and everybody do not hate us. If everybody hated you, then the marches that been going on here in Minneapolis wouldn't be the way it is without the diversity. You got the devil in everything now. You understand what I'm saying? But however, you got to learn how to sort things out. But our community is messed up mentally. We're going to talk about that today, the mental effects in our community as well. And what we try to do is bring light to the young people, that you may be able to stop thinking that you're never going to get nowhere because of your skin color. It's a lie. It's always been a lie. And everybody in this country is not racist. And I know, talking political, you got some people that's for Biden and some people for this is what I don't understand. For the Black Lives Matter and all our other groups, and I'm not going to try to dog them. A lot of people that tell you vote Democratic because you hate Trump and you saying that Trump is racist. And this is the thing that I'm talking about, that I'm trying to get folks to understand, black folks to understand that, you know, Biden is as racist as Trump is, if you want to do that. So you're not, we had Obama. Obama did nothing for you. We have to stop thinking the way that we think and acting the way we act as a whole. We have intelligent people in our communities, but they don't implement it the way that they should implement the intelligence. So BBN does not mean that we out here, starting some movement that's going to be hating folks. I hate the idea of racism. I hate the idea of a lot of different things that got to do with sin, but I don't hate the person. And this is what we have to get past. Anybody that lives in St. Louis, STL, they say, I live in St. Louis. And if you lived in St. Louis, you see that there's a lot of mayors throughout that whole county, the old suburban county. And when I went to St. Louis in 2000, I never thought that I'd seen so many black people live so well in my whole life. I've seen so many black people live well. But then again, I went to some of the township meetings. I see them fighting each other, stealing from the pot, stealing from the funds, and all other types. So what I'm saying is this: if you want to see more black people in power, it does no good if a black person that's in power going to be crooked just like anybody else. So what we have to do, we have to teach people how to wash their minds. Wash their minds. I have family. Some of y'all here have family. Some of y'all looking at me have family. To stop talking to you about because of these things that's going on. Don't talk to me mad at you because of politics, mad because you don't think the way they want you to think. I was raised majority thinking that I would never be nothing, never get out the hood because of my skin color. Well, that's a lie. And if you keep telling somebody they're not going to be nothing, they are not. We're going to attack in this conversation a few things. And like I said, to be real, the first panel, what we did have, we had, a little bit of tension. Some people, when they dialogue, they want, like I say, all us to agree. But everybody's not going to agree with your thoughts 100%. And people want to be the victim all their lives. I don't want to be the victim all my life. I don't want to sit back and just complain about not making it, not being able to go away because of slavery, because of 400 years of oppression. They say anyhow. I don't want to, what was doing before 400 years. So I don't want to walk around all my life thinking that I'm never going to be nothing. That's a sad way of thinking. That's bad therapy. So we need different therapy, better therapy. They fight for justice, I understand let me make this statement before we go on. Another thing I always say to people, black folks, if this country is that bad, if it is, and I'm not discounting, I'm not saying police officers wasn't doing bad. I'm not saying that we didn't, I come up in a time where, you know, you was stopped for being black. I can't count the times that I was pulled over by a state trooper in Jersey for driving at night and the day. But thanks be to God, you know, I had no incidents. I can't count it. The times I had run-ins with them, argued with them. You know, and we know that racism does exist. But we are a people that's complaining constantly about what's going on out here and how bad we treated, as if we're never going to get nowhere. We want to change the laws. When you have an invitation from a lot of African countries tell you, you could come back home. Number one. Number two, you're still trying to institute yourself, or you're trying to, you want to be accepted. And if it's that bad, why would you want to be accepted by people that don't want to accept you? We have to start asking ourselves questions. Why do you still support people that's not black businesses? If it's that bad, then why do you still go to Asian nail shops? Why do you still support the things that you say that's so bad? We don't want to make this always a victim type of thing. You understand what I'm saying? Because if we was, you know, just like they say, my city is called the city of brotherly love. I come from Philly, and there's not no brotherly love there. There's brotherly shooting there. Just like in Minneapolis, Philadelphia, St. Louis, New York City, Baltimore, Chicago. See, we have this problem all over. And we constantly saying they're making us do that. I don't see how. Because can't nobody make me do nothing. You're shooting at each other because you want to shoot at each other. And we have to deal with the big elephant in the room. We get people that will text you, make comments on here, and you would debate things that we say that's the truth, but you have no answer yourself. Because if you had the answer, I'm sure you would have fixed it. Because you can't fix it. There's a deeper problem than what you are saying it is. And the problem starts with us. I don't care what we do. I don't care how much money Snoop Doggy Dogg gave, if it gave any. Ice Cube, all these stars that I love. Jay-Z opening up the basketball players. Now they have Black Lives Matter name on the basketball court. People saying, we're making strides. What are you making? What type of strides are you making? And you're not making those strides until you can walk in your community safe, without ducking. These young people out here shooting up folks. Where's their daddy? Where's their mommy? And you blaming everybody else for them shooting. You still have crime up. You still have our black men in jail. Still have them on the street. A lot of them don't want to work. Smoke weed. And then when I talk like this, you say, well, you judging our young black men. How do we motivate them then? Unless we tell them the truth. Because your motivation ain't working. They turn in homosexual. We talk about that, you say that we homophobic. You let your kids curse. You let them drink wine when it's New Year's Day. You on drugs and don't worry about your kids by themselves, raising themselves while you on drugs, you're out there smoking. So I'm saying these are the problems in our community. So what do? Preachers come in our community and they take advantage of the people, and it's not only the preachers, everybody take advantage of it. If the liquor store, bar, the corner bar is taking from your community, shut them down. Don't go. Stop drinking. Get some help. We have become complainers when our ancestors have made the way for us. Dr. Martin Luther King, the civil rights movement, and if you ask me, I have my different opinions about the civil rights movement, because I'm not going to go to no restaurant that don't want me to sit there so you can spit in my food and give it to me so I'm making a point. I ain't got to make that type of point. So what are we going to do? We're going to constantly be the victim. We're going to constantly, and I tell people this all the time, there's no evidence that people have that, people just don't like Trump because they just don't like him. What president called talk stupid? Obama was the most melodious president we had, but what did he do? And nobody can tell you what he done. I'm sick and tired of our people being brainwashed. And then they say, we brainwashed. What did he do? Majority of black people do not even know. Do not even know. I've came across, and it's amazing, that Trump made Dr. Martin Luther King a home, a national park. No other president done that. You say he racist. He didn't have to do that. You say, well, he only did it to get the black vote. He didn't need your vote to get in the first place. Why would he do it again? It's the way people think. You listen to people, and then you go off of stuff you have no evidence. And I know some of you are going to write me with some evidence. Well, much evidence you write me, I can write back to you. Then you voting for a dude that can't even think straight. How do you run a country and you forget your last name? Hypothetically speaking. How do you run man, that man would get up in his sleepwalking and push that button. Why do he will be the oldest president of this country. And they pushing it. Black Lives Matter is not giving back to your community. Can somebody please write me and tell me, what are they doing? Nothing. They do not speak for me. I don't carry hate. I carry common sense. Let's deal with those that are racist. Let's do it all day long. But stop. You know, I live in a predominantly white neighborhood. I got 3 houses that got signs that say Black Lives Matter. And I ain't got no sign in front of mine. And I ain't gonna put one. I already know my life matter. Nobody has to tell me that. You know, God bless me. I don't know if they think that makes me feel good. I've always had jobs, the only black person on the job. And for the majority of the time, 99% the highest paid. And I'm talking about racist supervisors, racist, whatever. You know, they were so racist that they gave me more money than they gave everybody. Let's stop thinking we can't get nowhere. It's a lie. That type of thinking keep you in the system. That type of thinking, you know, because if I walk down the white neighborhood, even if they don't like me, they ain't trying to shoot me. They taking people's cars in Minneapolis. That's somebody's kid and somebody's baby. Get your babies. Period. I was raised with that type of mentality. And when I got older and got saved, I got out of that mentality. Because it's not a good mentality to have. Every police officer ain't bad. Let's prosecute that dude and the rest of them that killed that man. And anybody else that they killed that was wrong. I've been stopped by countless of times. Been let go, no ticket. When I was young, I got smart a whole lot of times. I've had the one to beat me. You know, what the world needs is Jesus. For real. I ain't talking about this Jesus that people got today. Your fake Jesus. That's what it boiled down to. When are we going, or how are we going to fix this? You want to say something? Okay, she's going to speak later. This is what we're going to do. Is this. We want to attack one of the biggest elephant in the room before we go further. And that is mental health. People in our community is dealing with mental problems. And some folks don't even know it. For years, I was pastoring for years, and a lot of times they told me, they would come to the office and say, well, Pastor, my kids are a little energetic. They say they should put them on some pills. And I always told them, don't let them put your baby on no pills. When kids are kids, they act up sometimes. They act like kids sometimes. You call bad, but you was bad just as bad as they was. I don't know what y'all would have called me in my days. Because we was breaking windows out. We was breaking popsicle sticks in people's locks. We was jumping out of third story windows. We were doing a whole lot of stuff. We was fighting in the street. So I guess we had mental issues. No, we were just kids. Okay, and everything that we didn't have much in the ghetto, so whatever we can do to have fun, we did it. We found things to do to have fun. We wasn't as privileged as a lot of other folks. So you know, you make things up to do. But Lamar was going to speak a few minutes about what he personally went through. And this was, you know, I know somebody going to say, well, yeah, they gave all our babies. Yeah, I understand that. But you know what? They can't give your baby nothing you don't allow. You don't have to allow them to give your kids pills. Huh? You don't have to allow them. They give them pills and carry on. You don't have to allow that. Okay? So Lamar is going to take the floor for a few minutes, and he's going to express to you the things that he went through. And our black kids, a lot of our black kids going through. I'm going to tell you the reason why. I'm going to tell you something before we... if you notice, there's a few things that we deal in our community. The number one thing is music. One of them. People in our community love rap. This gangster rap. And that spirit of that music gets in our kids. And what it does, it has a negative effect. What rap motivates when it speaks about weed smoking, shooting. We were preaching about this a long time ago. How they handle their baby mamas. And if you look at our children today and listen to them songs, they are implementing everything that them rappers say. Wow. The rappers send their children school, spending money, private schools, and your kids in the ghetto dying by the hands of a gun. Now, I want to enlighten you on something. If all of those basketball players, football players, professionals, if all those was really for you or Black Lives Matter, they would deal with the issues that hurt our community. Number one, they're right. Number two, it motivates everything that's negative. Like I said earlier, sweet weed smoking, guns, shooting. Kids don't even go to school no more. You get mad at the teacher for not telling them they don't teach your kids what is your kids in school to learn. We got kids in that go to public school, smart, intelligent, because they listen to the teacher. But if your kid going to school to start trouble, he ain't going to learn, or she ain't going to learn. The family is broken down. There's a saying, they said, the white man destroyed the family because, now I have mixed feelings about this. They said, one, they broke up the family because back in the day, they would give the welfare to the man, a woman, and give nothing to the man. Well, listen here. If the man running around having a bunch of babies by 5 different women, and that woman ain't got no job, how do you think that woman should survive if he ain't home? Black daddies need to come home. Stop being out in other people's parties and gangstering and can't be found. You making babies but not taking care of them. So what do you expect the system to do? And if the system didn't do that, then you have a problem with the system. Girl walked up on me, said, you know, the system, and you got all these kids home, treat my husband bad, make him pay child support. I said, he's not home? No, he's home. I guess they had a little confusion earlier. Well, I said, who's supposed to pay for a baby that he made then? Well, what I'm just saying, no, if you made the baby, you paid for the baby. If you go to a steak store and buy the steak and eat it, you have to pay for it. If you're man enough to make it, then you're man enough to take care of it. That's just simple. Some of these police officers, we said it was racist because we finding incidents of black men being beat. Not every case is a George Floyd case. If they tag it, not every case is the George Floyd case. As the police officer say, get out, put your hands up, get on the floor, or whatever. Don't resist. Don't get me wrong. Because some of you won't get me wrong. Because say, I'm on the police side. No, I'm on the side of right. If you got weed in your car, if you drive, you know, I never understand you driving around in your car with no license and weed. And then you get stopped and you get mad because he locked you up. Well, you have no license. And you let the window down and your whole car reek of weed. What did you expect the police officer to do? Ask you to give him a hit? These are common sense things, basic things that we don't want to deal with. We're not dealing with it, and it becomes a bigger issue. For years and years and years in this country, it's been like this. How are we going to fix it? So another thing is when we get to talk about the mental health. The mental, am I saying right? The mental health. So you let them put pills. You believe in the doctor more than you believe the preacher. You go to the doctor, just like they doing now with this COVID thing. And this ain't just a black thing. This is everybody thing. People just think that there's something out there, the boogeyman out there to get you. And you making no sense of it. You wear masks in your cars. You go to a restaurant, take the mask off to eat, put it back on, go back outside. And, you know, I keep telling people, the mask ain't going to protect you. If you want to keep yourself healthy, stop smoking, stop drinking, even stop cursing. Stop stressing, stop doing things that's making your body react in a way that's not normal. And you let them give them all types of pills, pharmaceutical pills. These pharmaceutical drugs are killing folks faster than any other drug that's out here. And you notice this. They say pharmaceutical drugs are legal and cocaine is not legal, but people are more addicted to pharmaceutical drugs than they are the illegal drugs. Some states, they made marijuana legal. And the only reason why they made it legal is because they can't control it. So if they can't control it, they want to make money off it. Don't be so negative. I was asked a question. How can a black church support Trump? I wasn't on live lately, but I'm making a comeback, I guess. And trust me, your conversation did not throw me on live. I got very, very busy. I'm a preacher and a businessman too, and a family man and a husband, and a goddaddy and all that other tough stuff. But they made these comments, and some of you make the comments, I know you. You got a nerve to make the comment. It's question. How can a black church support Trump? Well, how can a black church shut down? How can a black church support homosexuality? How can a black church support Biden? As a matter of fact, let me go a little deeper. I'm really making that. How can a black church support Obama when Obama just got your votes and threw you under the bus? I can go on. Don't ask me how can a black church support Trump. And I got some more for you later. I'm getting ready to let Lamar talk about mental problems we have in our community. All right.
Yeah. I want to give glory and honor to God who's the head of my life, my apostle, my first lady, and everybody in respectful positions. So here to tackle the mental health that's in the black community that's going on. I have a couple articles too that I want to read, but before I get to the articles, I want to go off, life experiences and testimonials. So, being on medication from about 5 years old all the way to the age of 23 years old, which it took a toll. It takes a toll, on your mentals and stuff like that. So if you got 5 kids, in a room, and everybody's playing, at a high speed or at a high capacity, you moving at a slow capacity, due to the medication, that you the influence that you're under, or you can be, in a circle. I know you guys heard me tell this testimony before. Be in a circle, with 5 kids, 6 kids, everybody explaining a dream, that they had, and you can't elaborate or expound on the dream you had because you didn't have any, which it causes you. It shuts your brain down. It shuts your brain down to the point. That's why I don't suggest that parents put their kids on medication at all. So it shuts your brain down when you sleep. You can't think, you can't dream or anything. You just see strictly black, and you just wake up. And then another thing that I also wanted to tackle as well is, it's a doctor in Fairview Riverside Hospital. His name's Dr. Manny. And I used to explain to Dr. Manny, the level is 4B, it's floor 4B in Riverside Hospital in Minneapolis. And I used to explain to Dr. Manny at a young age, and I used to tell him, like, hey, I don't think, it's reasonable or fair that you put a kid in a straitjacket. And they like, why? It's to restrain the kid. Because at the end of the day, you got this kid in this straitjacket, and you don't know if the kid, what issues, inside that this kid is dealing with. You don't know if he's, like claustrophobic or, and then on top of that, you put him in a straitjacket, and the staff jumping on him. Some of the staff used to come in, dealing with personal issues from work, and just jump on you while you're in a straitjacket, and lock you in the seclusion room, and just lock the door and leave you there for hours at a time. You don't know if this kid's claustrophobic or what type of condition this kid has. Then, that's why, I suggest, and I won't stop, until this happens, that straitjackets, seclusion rooms, and chain chairs. A chain chair is where you put a kid in a chair, put a seatbelt around him, and put like handcuffs, like shackles and handcuffs, and just wrap it around his whole body to the point where he can't move. And then you put a muzzle over his mouth, or they call it a spitting mask, so you can't spit on nobody. That, and then another thing about, I got a couple articles here.
So you experienced that change and everything like that?
Everything I mentioned as of right now, I experienced all of this. So, question, has anybody ever read the newspaper or read the newspaper today? This is a question. So, in the newspaper, if you ever look in the newspaper, it's a session in the newspaper where it's called human lab demonstration, that I call it. But it's a place where they send you, it's like scientists, it's like private labs. You can find it in the newspaper where, if you need money or you loan cash, you're desperate, they put this, in the newspaper. You have to search for it though, it's in there. Where, I'll give you $2,000 or $3,000 if you come to the lab, and I believe they got a lot of them in Kansas City. If you come out here and you let us run these tests on you. Now you can go to this lab, normal, you got your normal, functions and accusations of your limbs, and then they run a test on you for about 3 weeks, something like that, and then you leave, and then a week or two later, your ears start peeling, or, your nose may, start having problems, or, your limbs start being weird, or you might have inside, problems and stuff like that. That's internal. But they don't tell you these things. They don't tell you that a lot of meds, like me and my wife, we went to, I think, Walmart or something the other night. A lot of medications that was there was discontinued. They discontinuing meds because, it was a disorder or something, that was wrong with it. Like Adderall. That's what I used to be on. I used to be on Adderall. I used to be on Ritalin and Adderall. And Adderall has methamphetamine, which is a street drug. So pharmaceutical companies are cross-referencing street drugs with pharmaceutical drugs, which is illegal, but they're giving it a different name, which is a different demon. And so at the end of the day, like Ritalin, I have an article here from from a doctor. He's out of the University of Buffalo, and he elaborated on Ritalin, why you shouldn't take Ritalin meds. And this is what he said. So the doctor from out of Buffalo said that Ritalin has the potential of causing long lost changes in brain cell structure, functions, and more, especially the drug can lead to mental health disorder such as depression, as well as frontal lobe brain injury, which can cause impact of control. So which can cause impulse control. So at the end of the day, Ritalin is a medication that can cause you to be depressed, which is a spirit. They don't tell you these things. It causes you to be depressed. That's why they say, oh, medications are uppers or some are downers. But they never tell you, the side effects of these medications. Ritalin is, I was always, like growing up, I was always depressed. Even going into my teenage years. Ritalin causes you to be depressed. And, even Haldol. I used to be on Haldol. I was getting Haldol, which is another med, which is has a side effect of Cogent. Now, Cogent, they use that for Parkinson's. That's a disease that I think R.J. Muhammad Ali had. He had Parkinson's disease. I didn't have Parkinson's, but, which caused 30 days, I had to take the pill for 30 days straight. And then I had to get an injection in my arm at the end of the month. Now, that can cause a kid to overdose. It used to cause my eyes to go up, which is dangerous. It used to cause my eyes to go up to the ceiling where I couldn't see out my peripheral vision, or I couldn't see straight or down. I just was able to see up, which is dangerous. Then it used to cause my jaw to lock. My jaw lock. Now if your jaw locks, you can choke on your tongue. And that happened to me, just random, out of nowhere.
And which one was that again?
That's Haldol and Cogent. And the side effect medication for that is Cogent, which is for Parkinson's. They treat that for Parkinson's.
And they call it Haldol?
It's called, Haldol.
Given a name like that and you want to take it?
Yeah, it makes you, so pretty much it makes you unaware, and it makes your reaction time slower. It makes your reaction time, a lot slower. Even Ritalin, they don't tell you that Ritalin has cocaine in it or it has speed. And I have a cousin, and this is why I say that's why you can see people that's when they born and their mom and stuff was on that drug, or they put them on meds, and later down in life they be on drugs. Like I got a cousin, he was on Adderall, which is methamphetamine. Now he's doing methamphetamine. Got another when he was on meds. Now he's starting cocaine. But this is the issue that we have in the community, that they don't tell you that these medications that these pharmaceutical companies are pushing out to you, your kids, your grandmother, whoever, this is the problem that's in it. These are straight street drugs that's in these medications, from heroin, from speed, down to whatever you want to call it. Whatever drug you can think of, that's what's in these meds. And this is what they're giving the black community. And I'm not trying to be racist, but the difference between the white community and the black community on a mental health note is they have more resources. You don't see a lot of cases in the white community versus the black community. They always got the ambulance coming down the street for your kid, but they don't have the ambulance coming down the street for their kids.
Right.
They don't tell you in their home, they got their kids catching real life demons in their home. They're not gonna send the ambulance to come get them. They just gonna tell them to relax. At the end of the day, the problem is it starts with the mind, because I dealt with the mind for years, and it starts in your mentals. because I had white friends in these places, and their resources were different than mine. And I sat back for a long time and I analyzed my resources versus their resources. Their resources, they'll put millions, if thousands, in order for a white person to save their kid, they'll put thousands or millions behind their kid. If they don't have it, they're gonna go find it. Because they have a resource that will give them that. Versus you from poverty, you got the welfare office, and that barely want to help somebody. And that's the issue that we have in the community today. Even with rap music, like you mentioned rap. I remember when I used to call you, and you like, where you at? And I was in the studio, and I was like, yeah, I'm here. But that's a true thing, and this is a true fact that they don't never tell you. In I think it was like 1994, that they had a secret meeting in a mansion, what they call the Illuminati today, and they developed a system on how we can combine prison with rap music. So therefore, for the black community, if we put $500,000 in this kid's face that's 20 years old, 19 years old, and have him rap about this, then that's going to create a cycle in the black community that's going to keep them in prison. Because the industry of hip-hop is connected to the prison system. For every bed that goes out, they get for every person that lives in a prison system, they get millions of dollars for that one person. But they don't ever tell you this thing. Even Dr. Seppi. When Dr. Seppi, before they killed Dr. Seppi, yeah, he was pushing a message for the black community as far as he was curing AIDS, diabetes, and cancer, as far as I know. He told his mom told him when he cured his 13th patient, I believe. This came out his mouth out of an interview. He said that, I told my mom that I have cured my 13th patient. She said, hey, they're gonna get you. She didn't say that, because what he was doing was wrong. She told him that because she knew how the system operated. Anytime a black man or anyone of color, just look at your history, as far as Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all of these people, every time they try to push your message, try to get you woke, or try to get you to understand or to see, because they had every leader, even pastors, got a different set of eyes that you don't have. They always try to take them out so you don't get free. Just like Martin Luther King, he preached a message. He said, I think it's called The Mountaintop. Last message before he passed away. And he told them, I might not get there with you, but we're going to see the promised land. Every time, a black person gets someone, in leadership that try to, warn them, hey, it's a wolf coming. Or this is what's going on. This is where we can be. This is where we're going to go. But you have to be willing to go there. They always, have their plots or their scheme.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
I was just going to say, Brother Lamar, can you tell about your testimony what was the transition or the difference? What helped you to come off of the medication?
Oh.
And where you at now? The accomplishments that you made. Of course, being on the medication affected you as a child, but could you share with everybody that transition of coming off the meds and what stirred it up? What changed for you to become a businessman today?
Now, what was the question if y'all didn't hear, because we had the mics, what was Lamar's transition coming off those drugs? He's going to give his testimony. And he is a businessman, black businessman, a businessman. He has his own cleaning company, him and his wife, his family. And we voiced that later on, because I had something to say about that. So he made the achievements from how he was drugged up for so many years to where he at now.
So, so I was in prison. I was sentenced to 10 years in prison for a robbery, second degree. It was a first class, but they dropped it down to a class B. I was in prison, and before I went to prison, like I told my testimony many times, I was on the other side of the cross. Now my grandma and them, they was, in church, and Jesus and stuff, was pastors and stuff like that, and a lot of, family members was halfway or whatever. So I went to prison, I wasn't with the whole religion or the whole, church thing or stuff like that, because, I was really like straight like demonized. Like I used to create like rap songs, like talking about like dead men walking and rise out the grave, like stuff like that. That's where my mindset was then. But when I went to prison, I was, seeing around me the environment of prison, how they treated you like a straight dog. Like they treat you like pretty much like trash. And, I was, hearing what was going on and out there in the community back home. And something just clicked in me, like, man, I gotta change my life. So I got down on my knees one day at like midnight. I was in the cell by myself. I was in the hole doing a 6-month stretch for a fight. And I got down on my knees about 12 o'clock at night. And I heard Obama was the president. So I didn't know how to pray then. So I started praying for Obama and everybody, like, protect these people. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. So from that day, I gave it a shot. And, something, it just started working in me. And then, I started seeing a change, in my life. And one day I got into a fight. And this is how I got off the meds. One day I got into a fight. And the guy, I just got into a fight with him like 2 days ago. And the next, 2 days later, we was in the chow hall. And he was hiding under the island. And I was in line minding my own, and I just took those hell dog meds. It makes you like super unaware. And I'm just walking and walking and walking. And he hit me. He just came out from the island and just hit me. And I was like, whoa, and we got to fight right then and there. But when I went to the hole again, I was like, man, I really have to get off these meds. Because something can kill me. So the nurse would come to the thing and be like, hey, you want these meds? I'm like, no, get away from my door. And I just refused it all the way through. And I just went off cold turkey. And when I got out, I started, before I got out, my mom told me one thing. She told me, she said, I'm going to tell you one thing. My mom always said certain key things. She said, I'm going to tell you that it's a lot of temptation out here. Now, I knew the city I lived in, which was St. Louis, Missouri. So I had to make a decision. Was I really gonna, walk this walk that I wrote down on this paper? Or was I gonna go back to what I was doing? Because a lot of guys that was getting out was coming back 6 months, 4 months, less than that. And I didn't want to be like that. So, I took what I learned on that paper and, I applied it. And I met with my wife and she was in church. And now I was under a pastor or whatever, she was my auntie. But they was performing witchery. But I didn't know that it was witchery at the time, because I was new to the whole church thing. So I met, Apostle and Samir, and they helped me, they came and got me free of charge, and they helped me, change my life.
He said came and got free of charge. No, he paid for it later, and it's given. This is one of the reasons why I tell people in leadership, I think, before I say that, you answer the question?
Yeah, I just have one to saying because I know I'm raising a child.
Okay, can you speak a little louder? Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to put in what brother was saying, because I know I'm raising a child who, I wouldn't say he's mental, but he has mental issues, but he has autism, as they say, and even just, I remember before it took me a long time to get him diagnosed. I had to study and do a lot of things before, and I knew I didn't want to put him on no meds or anything like that, but I know for me, it took, I would say, church helped my child, like literally, even still to this day, I think he got baptized, you did the oil on him, and ever since he's been covered, and he do not like to listen to no rap, he don't like to listen to no extra, he loves his gospel songs, he loves his gospel music, he even pray. He has a delay in talking, but I think that's what we are missing too, like we're just missing God in our house, and that'll help the message for our child and for our children and for ourselves, because it helped me get back to church, because I was trying to be a rapper, and my son wasn't having that. He was not, he wanted to listen to his gospel, and that's just how.
Well, awesome. For those of y'all that didn't hear her clearly, she said for her child, which was diagnosed with autism, and we're familiar with, she's a member of this church, and the Lord blessed her child, not the same. And she said, the child you want to listen to rap no more. See, this is what I don't understand. How can a child detect what's wrong faster than a grown person can? And this is the problem that we miss in our community. Like the sister said, that we need the Lord in our homes. This is what we've been saying all along. Before we get anything fixed, you have to fix the major problem. We need to get God into our homes back again first. Deal with our children. I'm not here advocating we should not stand against wrong. We should do that. But it's chaos out there. Everything is everywhere. What's organized? The Black Lives Movement is an organization that's not even organized. When you look at it, it's not organized. How do you give your money, your donations, to something that's not organized? It's just like on your computer when you put something in the cloud. I don't know if I know this, I don't know if I'm explaining it well enough, I'm not computer savvy, but it just sits there in the cloud. You're giving money to something that you don't even see. All these millions and billions of dollars that was given to Black Lives Matter, you would figure they would be in each community. See these stars, all these at Jay-Z, why do you go and give it to groups? Come into the neighborhood yourself and fix the problem. How can you fix a problem that you're part of? You know what the part of the problem is? You black men that don't want to take care of your family, that don't want a job, you're the problem. Those of you that sit on the street, want to smoke weed, you're the problem. You that selling dope to your own children, you're the problem. You that shooting, you're the problem. You're more of the problem than the white man is. Then they say, well, don't down nobody. What are you talking about? It's not downing, it's the truth. We have to deal with the truth. These messages don't get viral. You know what? Just like he said, let me tell you, the devil wants to keep good information away from you. That's why they killed Dr. Martin Luther King. That's the reason why they killed Malcolm X. And y'all Chicagoans need to be ashamed of yourself. Because I don't care how many of you say that the FBI have paid people to kill Malcolm X, be ashamed of yourself. Because why do you kill your own? When all this was going on with them, the civil rights movements, so many women has stories. Black women have stories of being in prison, and they bringing black men into the prison, the white police officer, and making a black man beat on a black woman. What type of sense, or do you can be bad with me, but you can't be bad with them? And what type of sense do you have to beat on the black woman? To beat on somebody that look like your mama? or your grandmama. Nobody can make you do nothing. You do it because you want to do it. Make this go viral. Instead of nonsense on you put on YouTube or Facebook, nonsense. We need to make choices in our community, in our homes, and our churches need to make choices. Now you sit up there telling somebody is a sellout if they standing up for Trump. You need to be ashamed of yourself. Sell out. You was sold out when you agree with same-sex marriage. You sold out. You already sold out when you stopped going to church. You sold out. Because our ancestors was churchgoers. Why are you home? Then you preachers talking about, well, don't mix political things with, what did you don't even make sense. David was political. Joseph was political. And not only that, I didn't make it political. They made it political when they told me to shut down the church because of COVID. And you believe a lie. COVID is a lie. Babies are still being born and people are still dying as always have been, but not by the COVID. People ain't dropping dead in the streets. They lying to you. And I hate to be political on this, but the reality is that you sit around some of the Democrats, they are the ones. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. They blaming everything on Trump. And you can say I'm a Trump supporter all you want. I don't care what you say because you really don't even know me. You don't even know the way I think. But I'm saying I'm dealing with the facts. What you trying to get this man out of office by trying to impeach him, number one. Look through the whole process. And if you ask me, I'll tell you, and I don't care who like me or don't, or you say I'm a Trump supporter, I don't even care what you say. But the truth is the truth. You Democrats have sent out here and you killing folks to get a man out of the office. You have that much hate for the Republican Party that you're killing your own people. You the demon. You love us so much, Black Lives Matter. But you don't come in our communities and bring that money that you got. Why is people in this South Minneapolis asking for the government for help? You ain't supposed to be asking for no government for help. Black Lives Matter and all that started this riot, you should pay for the bill that you created. You pay for the bill. You got enough money from the stars. Pay for the bill. Give out loans to the businessmen that's doing bad. Your eyes, you know, one thing he said, my son said, is another truth. He said that leadership has eyes you do not have. Some folks are talking about, oh, well, I'm wrong for what I'm saying all at once. But you the one still sitting by not doing nothing. You the one still sitting there going down to try to get some bread because you won't go to work. You the one that's in the hole. I'm not. I can see clearly. And those that can see clearly can lead clearly. We have a problem in our community. What are we going to do about it? We're not consistent. We set up consistent things in the community. You're not consistent. You don't want to talk about it. You want to go out there and riot. You want to go into Target and be happy. Look at the videos. People are happy going into the stores and rioting, laughing, running up and down aisles while you're stealing stuff. You're a thief. And a robber, just like the devil. You have no dignity about yourself. Although I don't agree with everything Candace Owen say, but I'm gonna tell you something. She's making more sense than a lot of y'all when it comes down to political issues. You are lost, people. That's the reason why Jesus said, go to the lost sheep of Israel. You want to blame everybody for your problems. You so blind, you blaming the white man for your problem, but then again, in the marches, it's 60% of white folks marching with you. If you ask me, I think they feeling too sorry for you. Too sorry for you. Yeah, I said it, I won't take it back. Because some of y'all don't even deserve it. You just out there to get something. You ain't out there to make some change happen. You out there to get something because you know that this is the time to get it. And I don't want no president that's going to sit up there and keep. You know what's so crazy? It's the Democrats that have been coming. See, you can't blame the Republicans. The Democrats is the one for centuries that have been coming to your neighborhood. For decades, promise you something that they cannot deliver. The only thing they deliver to you is food stamps. They're not delivering nothing that's going to help you work. Buy a house. I don't want nobody to look at me and feel sorry for me because I'm black, because I don't feel sorry that I'm black. I'm proud that I'm black. Don't feel sorry for me. That's what you want, somebody to feel sorry for you. Ain't nobody gonna be feeling sorry for you. I don't want nobody just to hire my business for other reasons. Listen, I'm good at what I do, and I thank God He blessed me for what I do. It's business. Just treat me like you'll treat somebody else. You're looking for too many hats out. We have these problems. And again, black men need to stay home. If you stay home, maybe the boys won't act the way they acted. That's why a lot of us have to be fathers to people, because you can't be a father to your own kid. Black Lives Matter has a different agenda. A different agenda. And you know what? Even a lot of the white folks that support them, you know what? They godless. They homosexuals. And it's good for them too. They live in the same life they live in. It's sad. We have come to a godless country. This is a godless country. We have repetitiveness that constantly go on in our community. We have like 700,000 groups that's in the community. You know why? You started a group so you can get some money from the government. And they ain't doing nothing with it. Why don't people ask about the money? How about them black people dying because they shoot in Minneapolis every single day? Let me tell you something. You say that the news don't take. See, that's why some of y'all not conservatives, some of y'all liberals like CNN so much. CNN is only, first of all, CNN only start talking about the black community like this is because they've seen the marches because of George Floyd. That's the only reason why. But when all these other people die, why are you not making it focus, putting the focus on it? How about when them young boys die by the hands of another black man, why don't you focus on that? This Cain and Abel deal. Killing your own brother. You ain't for me. Who wants to live in, some of people leaving the community, who wants to get up in the morning ducking? Nobody. Who wants to get up to rap music all the time? That demon stuff. And then people in the church talking about rap gospel. There's no such thing. You is not helping the problem. Well, we speaking positive. Well, go to a spoken word show. People do spoken words. You are pumping up chaos. And you're not there to help the problem. You're there to incite the problem and to hurt the problem. You're not there. That's the reason why we don't have women that know how to cook. They don't know how to be wives. They nasty. They nasty with their mouths. Look at all these girls. All you know how to do is drop it hot. That's all. That's all. Look at our community. It's everywhere. Everywhere. What are we going to do? Don't feel sorry for me. But when I tell you about them jobs that I was going to, I was just the only black man on there. A lot of them, and I felt just as comfortable. I went to work, and I was confident of what I had in me. I was confident that I could do the job, and I didn't need nobody to feel sorry for me. You paid me for what I do. That's what I'm looking for. They feel sorry for us, but it's not changing the community. Nothing's changing. Even some of y'all, a lot of y'all liberals, you may get your Biden. Then I want to see what you're going to do after you get your Biden. What is going to change? Our community are enriching nonsense. You are enriching people that does not help you. That's your problem. You are enriching people. People can come into your neighborhood and rob you blind and tell you a lie and you don't care. People can be in your community helping you and telling you the truth, but you hate them. What is the problem? We have a problem, y'all, in our community. We have a problem. How are we going to fix this problem? Somebody give me some answers. How are we going to fix it?
I was going to say we need to stop allowing the government to baby us. Like accepting the things that they offer to us, such as, even schooling, down to schooling, so that's why.
Yeah, she said, for those of y'all that couldn't hear, because sometimes when we listen to it later, we y'all talk out there without mic, they can't hear. She said, we need, and a lot of them ain't gonna like you for saying that. We need to stop that the government baby us. For a lot of you, some folks that I know have spent their entire life on a handout. Some people have never had a job in their life. Not one job. Can you imagine never going to work? Never had a job. And them was the complainers. Not somebody owned something. I go back home sometimes, same person, same place, doing the same thing. And you don't know that is a tool to keep you back. Hey, listen, what's owed to you is your taxes owed to you. Well, why don't we have a march down there and say, hey, give me my tax money that I work, they take taxes out of you, and now you can't even get your tax money. How many people tax they still holding? The federal is holding. Why don't we do a march on the federal state cap, not the state cap, the federal capital to say, where is our tax money?
I was going to say too that that's super true too about letting the government baby us, because since before I was even thought of my mom, she runs systems and stuff like that, but she introduced it to me and then I was on it. So from the time I had my first baby when I was 15 years old, all the way up until I was 24, I believe, or 25, something like that, I was on welfare, I was on Section 8, and it was super restricted. Like, I could only make a certain amount of money, otherwise it was going to take everything from me. And me knowing that, then I stayed under that. I only worked a certain amount of hours so that I wouldn't go over, so they wouldn't take my food stamps, my health care, my Section 8 voucher and stuff like that. And that's the mentality that I had until I came here. And it's like, you don't have to live like that. And I feel like a lot of people are just wanting that handout because it's like, it's free. I don't have to do much. I don't have to work too hard. But when nobody tells them like, when that fails, then what? When they take that away, then what? Then you're just out here without nothing, and then you taught yourself to be in that mentality of, oh, I'm gonna have this. You're waiting for that. Every first of the month, you know that you're gonna have something on your car. Every time you get your food stamps, you know that's gonna be there. Your health care, you know they're gonna pay everything for you. And then it's like, it enables us and it makes us like run around with chickens with our head cut off when all that is gone, and then we're just like stuck and we're restricted, and we just feel like, okay, now what do I do? Because I know when I got off Section 8, I was like, okay, now what? Because I'm like, we got, our other little bills and stuff like that, and now we have to pay full market rate rent, and I'm just like, I'm used to paying, when I was on Section 8, my rent was $0. I was paying nothing for a nice place, for multiple places. And then now it's like, you get, a low end place, and you still get in your head buzz for it. And it's like, we have to work even harder to get what we want, to make sure that we don't be in that position when they do strip everything, because they're coming to strip everything from us.
Well said. Another PTTT speaking to you, because I don't have people around in this church and telling them just to stay on welfare so you can get your tithe. Some of you take tithe. You know what? You such a crook. Listen, I gotta do this tomorrow. They even make you pay tithes and all of your food stamps. Taking your food stamps. Man, it's not that bad to take somebody's food stamps. So you know what? You have to tell them I tell them, come on, Section 8. Come on, Section 8. Me and they giving all this one. I understand all of that. Yes, and that's good. But it's something that come along with that. Now, if you don't tell me that everything that she explained to y'all right now is communist, then I don't know what to tell you. South Korea, North Korea. Well, not South Korea, North Korea. And all them other communist places, they pay, we're going to pay for this. You work for nothing. We're going to make sure we supply it. I don't need you to handle my money for me. Let me make my money. I know a lot of people tell me and my son used to have a conversation about capitalism. Well, people have different feelings about capitalism. Well, this way, just open up the market for me and let me go at it, and I can take care of myself. Because I don't want to be restricted to how much money I make. You too much. If I make this type of money, then you can. No, I don't want to be strict. Now, again, help should go for those that need. You may find yourself in a predicament. You may get hurt from an accident. You may get anything, come across a disease. I believe that as a community, we should step in. The government should step in. You want to take tax money from it. But I don't think that you should use it as a crutch for all your life. And some people, just like she said, it goes from one to the other to the other. Come on, tell your story about how you broke that chain.
Yeah, so this is a good conversation. So I just wanted to mention, like earlier she said when she was talking about how we are, how it's planted in us from generation after generation to depend on this. And that's their design, is that we be dependent on what they do, that we only go as far as they allow us to go or they want us to go. That's the design. And what's funny is that we're arguing, even as black people, over Democratic or Republican, but Democratic is mostly for us being dependent on them. Republican wants you to go out and make your own money, make your own business, be dependent on yourself. But Democrat, on the other hand, is opposite of that. It wants you to depend on them. It wants you to go through the welfare system, get the Section 8, and when we think in our minds that this is a help, it's really not a help, it's a crutch. They keep us where they want us to be at, because at the end of the day, regardless of what we've heard, what we say, they have this saying, this is a white person's world, and it is. And we have to learn how to get out of that thought, out of that train of mind, and become more. And like the sister said earlier, it wasn't until I was introduced to Christ and a particular leadership that taught me, okay, I don't have to be dependent on the system. The system is designed so that it does keep African American, and I'm not just saying African American, it could be any color, but we are African Americans, and that's what we're talking about right now, our community. And it is designed to keep us apart. It's designed to keep the black man out. It's designed to keep the woman under their control. It's designed to do all of that. And then earlier it was said, I guess, and what saddens me is that a leader a religion that proclaiming to be Christ would say, how could pertaining to be Christ-like would say, how could a black church support Trump, or would say, how could why are we as a black church being so political? But if we don't stand up for our rights, because regardless of what, yes, we are in the world but not of the world, but we are in this world, and so whatever happens within this world affects us. And if we are the chosen ones, then we need to be mindful and aware and have attention on what is going on in this world. So if we stand back and don't be political, then who's going to stand up for our rights? Who's going to stand up for what needs to be said? Amen. If that be the case, then we'll be we might as well be blindfolded and just go with the wind. And that's not how it's supposed to be. So to sit there and say that we shouldn't be political or we shouldn't give our views, then how do we lead the ones that God sent us to lead? We can't lead them foolishly. We can't lead them without a direction. We can't lead them as to say we follow the world, because that's not why God put us here. God put us here to lead the world. So it's funny that all of that is said. Like, okay, if we stand back and as a leader that God has put in a place to lead his people with his mind and his heart, if we stand back and just let whatever happens, then what does that say about us? Then why are we put here? If we are supposed to just listen to the crowd and listen to the majority of said, or listen to the outsiders that's not of God, then why are we put here? You know what I mean? So all of it is about being dependent on them. When God did not put us there to be dependent, but put us there to be leaders. And we are supposed to lead and not follow. But if you look at all that's going on, we're following. And I want to just thank Brother Lamar. That was so profound what he said. And it's so needed in our community, because our community, our mothers, our fathers are not educated on how to care for our children. And like the sister said earlier, what is missing in our community is Christ. Rather we want to take it, rather we want to believe it, rather we think that's all is all. That is it. That is what's missing in our life. A lot of people as sinners can go on, they can lead a okay life, a decent life, make it, millions, however it may be it, but it's always still something they're missing. And that is what's missing in our community is Christ. And like she said, it took me to come to church, and it took the pastor to pray over my son to help him. I remember when she came to us and telling us that they wanted to introduce her son to medications. And I'm happy that he mentioned that, because a lot of us is not educated. We're so quick to believe the white scientists and the white doctors over our own that are there. Back in the day, it was mothers that came and they gave you remedies from home. They gave you natural remedies to help your children. Or they said, okay, just stay home and be patient and have the time for your child. A lot of time a child acts out like that because they just want the attention. They want the time. They want the mom and dad presence. And the dads are out of the home, and we're expected as mothers to raise for the lack of word that I'm using, to raise a man. And yeah, don't get me wrong, some moms do a good job at that, but it's nothing like having that dad at home, because the mother gives a different love than the dad gives. The mother walks in a different down a different lane than the dad would. That son definitely needs a father there. It's just like when I say, when it comes to homosexuality, if you have two sexes in the same home, how are you teaching that child the opposite? If you had two moms and you're raising a son, how are you teaching that son what a man needs to teach him if you're two women in the house? If you're two men in the house, how are you teaching your daughter about the monthly things that's going to happen, the changing in their body that's going to happen? You don't know those things because you're not a woman. Vice versa, you're not a man to teach your son that thing. And so to sit there and say that this is something natural, we all need to sit back and think, because naturally we're going to do things and decide on things that make sense. Not because, Democrats is mostly black, so that's what we need. No, we're going to decide on, is Democrats believing what I believe? Is Democrats for my rights? Is Democrats to help better our community? That's what we need to decide. Are we against abortion or not? Are we against same-sex sex or help me out, same-sex marriage or not. You know, we need to decide these things because it is a side. And we don't choose a side. We just want to go off of emotions, and we can't go off of emotions because that's what's going to be scary if we allow anything in there that's going to affect and talk against our religion or talk against our walk or talk against Christ. That's what we need to realize, because at the end of the day, if that happens, then we have a real fight. Because we are here as Christians to help the black community, to help the world. We're here for that. We're not here for any other reason. Like he said, what is the agenda of the Black Lives Matters? What is their agenda? What is they doing for the communities? Now, what is our agenda as Christ-like? What is our agenda? We want to raise up mothers to help the young women. We want to raise up fathers to help the young men. We want to raise up grandparents to help, all of us. And that's what we need to look at when we're dealing with the community. Amen. We need to have teachers. We need to have doctors. We need to have all of these in the black community to educate us, because we turn to the white doctors and the white scientists and the white people in general. We turn to them, and their train of mind or their thought or their care is not for us. It's for their own kind. It's not for our kind. But we trust and believe them in a heartbeat before we'll believe someone that God has put in place to tell us right from wrong. Like the Bible said, we will believe the untruth before we believe the truth. Amen. That's the thing that's plainly said. That we was here in a women's group the other day, and I said it's crazy because the Bible tells us the way that we are going. The Bible said that there will be a great falling away. Look at this. The churches have closed down. People have stopped coming. The Bible says that it will be as Noah times. And we all confused about, well, if the majority say we need to do this or that. But the Bible's telling us that we're not going to be in the majority. So we need to think about those things.
Yeah, well said. Well said. And what people have to do is understand you have to stop going with your emotions. Emotion does not do. I tell people, when you're leading, you can't lead with your emotions. If I led with my emotions, I wouldn't even try to help him after the first incident. If I led with my emotions, when you left the first time, I would just say, look, every time I turn around, she leave alone. She make me mad. Just get out. You understand what I'm saying? You can't lead with emotions. Nobody wise leads with your emotions. When you're a man of God, or a woman of God, or you know God, or a child of God, you lead. You let God lead you. People lead them. They vote off of emotions. And I'm not trying to downplay Joey Ford, but he ain't the first one that died by the hands of a police officer. They making this man like he's Jesus. He's not Jesus. He's not Jesus. And his family probably one of the most only black family I see that say they're gonna, because they got Christ in their life, that we're gonna open up a non-profit organization. Where's the rest of them, man? It's not the first time. This is not the first time we had police brutality, and it's not going to be the last time. But they're going about things wrong. They say, well, we want justice. I understand that. Man, I want justice too. Just walking down the street mad at everybody. Like I said, I live in a predominantly white neighborhood. Imagine me just coming out just being mad at all the white folks on my block. When I first got on that in that house, I had like 5 neighbors brought me something. Welcome to the neighborhood. When are we going to see that there are some change happening? And in some places there are not change. But for us, number one, if we do not, just look at it. We go into our neighborhood. I grew up in Philadelphia. I'm walking down the street by myself. I ain't with none of the homies. Sometimes it happens like that. Everybody gonna hang around you 24/7. I'll meet you up at the house. I do tickets and money. Maybe want to go and see your girl. So you see a whole block full of people, like, oh Lord. You can't walk on the side of the street. Now they already know you're up to something. What you walk up with your things out there? That's a coward. So you gotta walk through the crowd. And you gotta hope nobody just don't swing and knock you out. So you gotta watch yourself. Why do I have to do that? Especially in the city of brotherly love. They do that here. You better recognize what is you talking? Recognize what? This ain't your neighborhood. Because as soon as the police come down the street, you run. Why do you leave your own street? Look at Chicago. That's the most major city they're close to. That's all. Yeah, I'm reaching that time. Just killing up everybody, just shooting. But we talking about Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Put them in the best. Listen, I'm a boxing man these days. I'm not football too much or basketball too much. But I feel sorry for, because let me tell you something. That ain't supposed to be on the court. Okay? You there to play a game, to have fun, and the game is against the Vikings and the Eagles. Or 76ers. I know y'all don't like them teams. And the Chicago Bulls. I know Chicago Bulls are tearing up. That's what the game is about. Now you're involved so much. Now I understand, yeah, stars and basketball players, football, get involved. But you know what? Okay, there's a time for everything. Well, we bring in light. And you look at it, y'all. They bring in light. But what have changed? It changed for the homosexuals. They loving it. What have changed? Nothing. Because that's what Democrats do. Becoming promises stuff. And I can't see how you don't understand it. My wife talking about emotionalism. That's what we go by, emotionalism. Like I keep saying, I'm going to tell you, I want to just snatch masses off it. I know I go to jail if I do. But I'm like, what are you doing? What's out here, man? It's like you're breathing every morning. You getting up, you pretty healthy. I mean, you okay. Like, they want you to depend on them. You notice how they say, well, we're here to take care of you. When are our community going to understand? You notice they can't do that to the white community. They can't make them feel like that. They be up there with AK-47s, whatever. When they want their rights, they're going to exercise their rights. They're going to tell you, you ain't going to tell me. But black folk, I'm surprised to see so many black folks so fooled. My wife didn't tell me about my little kids. Little kids telling you everything they hate you. And then my girl said, you hear about the ordeal last time? He said, oh, what are you talking about? I don't know, because they were told me maybe I would have walked in there and said something, but she was at the doctor's and the security guard tried to make her put a mask on. And my wife refused. Like, vehemently refused, and he said that I'm going to have to kick you out. And she said, I don't care. Now, you out there talking to my wife like that with my baby, see, I'm coming up in there. But they didn't tell me till this morning. But they did put the mask on. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they said the lady that called you and told me, leave you alone. Just leave him alone. You see what I'm saying? Just leave them alone. We ain't bothering you. Well, you sprayed it. How can I spray? All right, check this out. We got a few minutes. I'm going to let you. I know a couple of y'all want to say something, so we're going to see. I was looking at by the bank. I'm drove by the bank. Looked in the window. Now, you got people sitting in the office without no mask. Those of y'all, can y'all, all I want from you, please, is just the thing. Like, please, just please, broaden your mind, please, and accept the truth. Now, if you sit in your office, right, and you in your own office and the door open, and you spreading the disease because you don't have a mask on. Why ain't nobody saying that to him? Well, it's already airborne now. It's airborne. Now, you have a mask protecting you and protecting me. So I don't need one. Because you're doing it, you're taking it. Then you come into the open air where everything is up in the air. And it gets airborne. Anytime you take their covering off, you recorded. You recorded 100 times already. You are allowing them to make you afraid for the next step. Then there's, I don't know, there's a Baptist church over in St. Paul. I think it's Shallow Baptist. Now as well, I don't care. Said I guess the Lord just told the pastor to open up. Now they're gonna do social distancing, wash their hands with it. Like I told you, even Geno Jennings did social distancing. I guess, I don't know. Let me not say because if Geno Jennings is here, then Geno Jennings want to knock everybody down for saying something. But it's the truth. But I don't care, but for real. But the thing is that at the end of the day, we preach all of this fiery stuff and how much God can do. Why are we social distancing? And a lot of these preachers, if you really mean it, if you really mean it, saying that God is a healer, then God is a healer. Why do we perform these things that they tell us to perform? What do they have to do with the community, Reverend? No, this is what I'm saying, is that we believe anything. I let them off at the doctor's office, and I mean, people just, I laugh, because they're comical. All I can see is their eyes get real big. Now, I'm in my car without a mask, and the front door of a medical place that I'm dropping the family off, and you look at me like, oh my God, you do not have a mask. And I'm looking at you and say, oh my God, you do.
And what I'm trying to make sense out of, when we went to the doctor, so the rule is supposed to be 2 years old and up should wear the mask. So my whole family would have a mask on, and I'm holding my 1-year-old, and I'm like, so my 1-year-old is magically protected. I'm trying to, why we can't tap into what he doing? You know what I mean? Or why he don't have on a mask? He's just 1 year under. So I'm not about to let none of us put on a mask, because whatever he's not protected by, my family ain't going to be protected by. It doesn't make sense.
I told you, Corona is the smartest virus we ever had.
Yes.
Don't attack that one. They won. They two. That means you're supposed to be more vulnerable. You're supposed to be more accepted. Get sick faster. And older people. So this is not making sense. Our community don't make sense of things. Listen, I'm going to take you a couple more people and say, you wanted to say? Did you put your hand up? Okay. What you?
Oh, yeah, I was just piggyback off of what First Lady and Cheyenne said about the oppression. Because, I mean, like my grandmother, she had 4 kids, but she never was on welfare from what I understand. I don't believe she was on welfare. If she was, she might have got food stamps temporarily. But, like, when I had DJ at 14 years old, like, first off, I was always told how school was important. Like, go to school, go to school, go to school, which I understand school is important, but it wasn't instilled in me the importance of having a job. And then I got pregnant, so I mean, it was still go to school, but I didn't get my first job until I was already on welfare. I was like 18 years old when I got my first job, and even then, I'm like, okay, I want to go get a nice paying job and make a whole bunch of money and, you know, work hours, and I'll be able to take care of my son. But they're like, oh no, you can only work in the summer when school is out, and you can only work 20 hours during the week. And it's like, wait, what? So it's like, I used to feel like the system, which it is set up for you to fail. Like, it's not set up for you to prosper. And when Darnell decided to come to Minnesota, it was like, okay, now it's 2 people. Oh, Dad's here. You don't qualify for this now. You don't qualify for that. Like, he should be taking care of the kid or whatever. Like, you know, I feel like if you trying to do it together and be on welfare, they don't work. They want the man out of the house in order to help you. And he is in the house, even though at the time we both 16, I think, when he came on the case. It's like, I don't know, I just feel like the system is set up for you to fail. And if you're trying to do it together, they don't want the men in the house. They definitely don't want y'all on welfare together. So it's like Cheyenne was saying, I didn't realize how much I depended on the system, because my mom pretty much just told me, well, now you got a baby, go collect welfare. And I mean, I don't think that it was something that I know it's not something that she was necessarily taught, because I know how my grandma used to tell me, don't be on the system. She told me, just like Isabella, don't, like, if somebody say your son's too active, don't put him on no pills, don't have him go to the sex, like, because she knew what the system was about. And I mean, eventually I did get on welfare, and like Shai said, it wasn't until I came this ministry where I'm like, okay, I don't have to be on welfare forever. Like, yeah, accept it when you could, but I know when I lived in the Merlin, which is a subsidy building or whatever, when we first moved there, I'm like, oh, this was like perfect, because I just lost my job. We was in a place where we had to pay rent. Well, not market rent, because we was just coming out of the shelter, but I'm like, we can't maintain a job right now. Like, we need some help. And then the door opened for us to move into the subsidy building. I'm like, oh, it's a blessing. Like, look, we ain't got to worry about making money to pay bills. If we don't got money, we don't pay rent or whatever. So it was cool, and it helped us in that time. But I told Darnell early on, I was like, look, we heard people have been in that building for 20-something years, for 28 years, for 12 years, for 6 years. I'm like, we is not gonna be here that long. Like, yeah, let's stay here while we need the help. But I'm not trying to be living here forever. And then as soon as we start having more kids, we ain't gonna fit this apartment anyway. Well, that didn't happen. Like, I lived in the Brookdale for 7 years, and it wasn't because I decided, okay, we're out of here, we got the jobs we need, we're gonna be able to pay market rate rent. That was my thinking at first, but once I got into the cycle, it was hard to get a better job and maintain that job and be able to, you know, actually go further. And like, it was hard to get out of that system. So I found Christ, and I started praying and didn't know what the prayer was gonna look like, because a situation happened where God like, okay, you want this? Well, you too comfortable. You're not going to do the necessary steps to get out of this situation. So I'm just gonna help you a little bit. I'm going to push you out to the apartment because you don't want to be here. That's what you said. So like, life has happened since then, but God continues to be faithful with everything that I've been going through. So it's like, yeah, it's a real thing to be caught up in oppression, but it's a real thing to actually choose God and start allowing God to work in your life as well. And I know this ain't supposed to be about
it's
but we represent our church, and it is what it is. Like Apostle said, they made politics about church, so it is what it is. But
that's right.
But can't not talk about God.
Yeah, that shows the mentality that you have. The preaching that's going forth is helping you, because it's taking you out of that mentality of just taking from you and telling you that you're always going to be somebody's puppy, because you're not. That the system should be a progressive system. And when the system came out anyway, it didn't come out for the black folks. It was originated for the white folks. But it was originated for them to come out of the oppression and strategically. Because I grew up with a grandma that put her time in she said, I worked it the whole summer. I worked for myself, and I had enough money to last me the whole winter. Because she had a third-grade education. So what I'm saying is it's progressive. When you're doing it for progressive states, hey, that's for progressive. But people say, well, there ain't no jobs. Man, look at here. And I tell people all the time, there's plenty out there. I'm hot. And you know what I'm saying? The thing is that the system is not made to keep you on there. But once people get on there, they know that people are going to get relaxed.
So she said one thing, and I was wondering how you feel about it. I'm not sure if I really would say that, and that's that the system is set up for us to fail. I wouldn't really say that it's set up for us to fail. It's how you use it. It's what you know about it. It's, the education that you have.
Yeah, this is the way I feel about it. Well, because the argument has always been, even when we had the last panel, they said the system is up for you to fail. Now, if you talk about the system as a whole, then I could probably say the jail system, just like people that, there's evidence that the jail system itself, we have more black folks in jail, whatever and then not only that, the vice president you get ready to vote for, or you vote for, she put more black men in jail than a lot of folks, because it's a business. So it's like it's a 50-50. It's what part of the system? Because the welfare system was made for white folks, so it was made to support the white folk. But then you have judicial system. You have a lot of different systems. The judicial system, we can say a lot about that. It's set up to fit. But then again, we fall into it because our rehearsal of crime. Now the welfare system itself, and I know what you're talking about because I was going to make this mention because you had said it out your own mouth. That they say, and Cheyenne had said it, they say, well, they don't want the black man in the house when you go through the system. If your man gonna be in the house and don't want to take care of it, and not going through something, like I told you, if a man is unable to do something rather than you help him. But if he just sitting around there smoking weed, he don't want to do nothing. No, I don't want to help him continue to smoke weed. He need to get up and get a job. You understand what I'm saying? So what happens that they say, well, they throw him out the house. I mean, what do we do? What do we do? Which I don't think they do well in doing that either. Number one. Number two, there was another thing you said. You said that, and then, well, if you have two people in the home, right, and two incomes, of course you're gonna go market rate. And I know market rate. I used to, when I was telling the ones that came off market rate, because I got a lot of different feelings about that. Because when you look at one number and then look at another one, you say, oh no. But you have to really look at it. Look at what they give you per month, and all they're doing is taking care of it. And if you worked it, and the hours you put in and all, but you have the opportunity to buy. You have the opportunity when you do market rate. You have the opportunity to negotiate your rent. You got there's a lot of things that you can do, but you build credit. You don't. There's a lot of positive things. It don't look good, but they okay with market rate. Although, listen, even if you have problems. You enter into some problem. God always works. If you believe anyway, I'm talking about believers. God works it out. God opens up the door. He would not be able to run his business, that way. Because later on down the road, they come and get you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now, do you want a business, or do you want to do that? Now, some people choose their food stamps every month. And that check that's going to go as soon as you get it, because then they buy cable bills and all other type of stuff. So I guess the system itself, some part of the system is designed, and some part of the system is now it become a design. I can put it like that. It have become. If we go from its first stages of being out for white folks, it was a system that. Then if you come to be designed, because people are relaxed in it now. So if you become, it become a design only because people enable it as a design. Yes, I'm saying they want it as a design.
So to answer your question, Sister Nicole, about what was inspired to open up a business or whatever. Apostle, he was a part of my inspiration, but he knew when I came, that I had that in me already. But what struck that in me was I was working at this restaurant, black owned, and dealing with the major churches or whatever. They always try to scheme me. So I got out of prison and nobody would hire me. Like people was promising me jobs, running me all around the city. Like, oh man, we're gonna hire you here, here, and there. Nobody would hire me. So the lady, nephew, she hired me, and she was giving me like $7 and I want to say 63 cents an hour. So I didn't know nothing about no job. I didn't get my first job until I was like 25 years old. So I worked it, did good or whatever. And one day I worked like, I want to say like 30 hours a week or something. I was working. And she gave me a check for $29. So I was at Planet Fitness working out, and I called her. I said, I don't think this is gonna work. And she tried to patronize me, like, hey, you one of the best workers, we got back there. What's going on? I said, well, you gave me a check for $29, and I know I worked more than that, And what I did, I put it in the offering plate, and something just told me, like, man, I didn't want to, waste my work. Because, man, I just like, well, so I just got up, and I just went for it because, it wasn't no jobs down there. Like where I come from, there's literally like you can be I think I talked to RJ about this a lot, where you can really be a RN, a registered nurse, and they supposed to get paid a lot. Like up here, they would get paid a lot. Down there, they hire $11 an hour, it's $13 an hour for RN. You going through school, they got a lot like they got a place down there called Rankin. It's a construction school where they just poured I think like $2 million, $3 million into Rankin. And you know, these people are coming out with careers. Well, then they pay these people $15 an hour. You know, paying these people like dirt ball prices. So, and people like, oh, there's no jobs out here. So you know what I did? I got out and created some.
That's right.
I created some for me and, you know, anybody else, you know, that needs an opportunity. But it's a lot there too. But at the end of the day, if there is no opportunity, because there's always going to be an opportunity that presents itself in life. Somebody give you an opportunity, give you a chance or whatever. You have to create them. Everybody's not business owner, everybody's not business savvy. But, you know, if you got a working bone in your body, you work savvy. So if this dude, you know, same with the, you know, about the Africans or whatever, that's another topic where they come over, they get the, you know, medical field higher paying in jobs. While, you know, we over here in America working for scraps. You can have that same job too. You know, whatever experience you got, work that experience to the highest degree, because that's something that you can do and let the opportunity present itself.
Yeah, did she fix that 29
Did she fix it? Yeah, she fixed it. But I mean, it wasn't the fact that she fixed it. It was the fact that at the end of the day, just because I got out of prison, that doesn't mean that you can take advantage of me and pay me. I'm the same skin color as you, because I know when the white man come to you, you're not going to do him that way. You're not going to nickel him down him.
It's amazing how people would do their own kind. We got to get ready to close it up here. But and I'm going to get you before we close. But it's amazing that people do it. You do away that way, your own kind. He said something that I have to say, and I end it. I've always had that mentality. When people say, when they're not paying enough, they're not doing enough, become a competitor. Okay? People say, well, you know, they're not, if you become places, hypothetically speaking, I'm not just on, so I don't want Starbucks and the rest of you, I'm just saying, if you don't like what Starbucks is doing, open up your own. If you go to a trash company and they want to pay you pennies, that's why you want Republicans. Because Republicans will tell you this. There's a free market out there. Go downtown, get your license. It may cost you a couple dollars. And go. Open up a business. You ain't gotta bother nobody. It's a free open market we have in this country. When you trying to depend on the government, that's why they try to get rid of the feds. The feds right now is what's holding your tax return. They don't want to tell you to take this out and technically we don't really need it. You see what I'm saying? So the reality of the fact is this, is that you are depending on people to give you something. When you can go out there and make, old man say, you want to make, how much money you want to make? Oh my God. Look out there. Go out there and get what you want. Just go. But I got the hustle in me when I was younger. Okay, this job ain't paying enough, I work too then. I'm gonna get mine somehow. When I was in Asia first game, I know how to support it. I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna work all the hours I can at this job. I'm going to be a janitorial business, and I did it. I had income come from one place and the job, and I still made it to church. Bible class, Friday night services, revival. They're like, man, you're killing yourself. I said, man, let me tell you something. I'm 22 years old. I ain't killing myself right now. I'm preparing myself, my future. I said, I wasn't killing myself. I'm preparing my future. While you home at bed sleeping, I'm out making the money. And I was stashing away. Every time it was offering time, and I would say this, if some, I don't know, I have some of my brothers and sisters I grew up with, I don't want to say that they probably say, no, Brother Brandon, it wasn't like that, no. But, all right, let me put it like this. I was one of the greatest givers. There was a lot of good givers there, but I gave a lot. And I had no problem giving. And the Lord blessed me. Brother Brandon always got money. Pastor said one day, before we was out there eating, there was a couple, we were coming from somewhere, from a revival. It was a couple of us. And we used to always eat. That's why I loved my pastor. Hello, come on, we sit there eating, count sheep, pour wisdom out of him. And one time he just got, Brother Vernon got that money because he worked. Brother Vernon got it because he ain't lazy and he pay his tithes. That's why Brother Vernon got that money. And he said, y'all always talking about Brother Vernon got money. When you bless the Lord will bless you. You understand what I'm saying? Don't sit back here and complain. Make something of yourself. Be somebody. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I ain't talking about be somebody you trying to make us obedient. Isabel said she was trying to rap it. All y'all have to do is this. And what God was sharing with her was like, you belong to me. Stay with God. God will give you whatever you want. You ain't really got to ask the devil for nothing. As believers, we don't. We sit back and like, oh, we let the devil beat us up. And you don't have to ask the devil for nothing. God got everything you want and everything you need. God's got everything you need. And you got to understand, all God has for you to tell you. Let me tell you something. Even with their business, they made ups and downs, made mistakes, and God keep giving chance after chance. God gonna always open up that door for your finance. And you know what way we get sometimes, and I'm not trying to make this a sermon, I'm just saying, sometimes we get so lax with God, like, well, and God said, I'm giving you all of this. Imagine you continue to be obedient in the next year or so. Imagine what you'll be in the next year. Stop falling backwards. And our community, everybody wants to be somebody. Everybody wants to do something instead of working together collectively. And one white guy said this one to me, and I had to accept it. He said, Rev, I don't want you to get offended with me. He said, but this is the truth. We used to always talk about race. Y'all hear this testimony all the time. He said, the problems in the black communities are really the problems of the black community. Meaning that don't get mad at us because we start baseball teams. Don't get mad at us because we got hockey moms. He said, y'all human, you can do the same thing. We can't get mad at other people because they thinking straight. You can't get mad at somebody. That's what black people always do. See, they neighborhoods, and like I can see the houses you live in like this. What you talking about? They got nice houses broken up, and I can see your house saying to your houses in the neighborhood. They say, "Well, why don't you take care of me then?" You can have a nice house. Who's stopping you from having a nice house? We ain't got white people walking down the street with burn cross on something. I'm gonna burn down your house because your house nice. You fix up your house. But they don't want to do nothing but sit around here and play rap all day and do like, listen, your sink is falling in. Fix your sink. You understand? Who has to make you drive around, just get a car and it's dirty all the time? Who told you not to wash your car? Is the law not to wash your car? Oh, well, black people not do that very well. Who's stopping you from being somebody? I don't see no white people out here on every business, some businesses don't. Let me tell you something, even in heavier racism that we deal with now, they hire black folks. You know why? Because y'all act like that white people could just control this whole America by themselves. If you want a society productive, then you're going to have to learn that you have to deal with people more than yourself. I've worked for some of the racist people, but you know what? You know what his color was and mine was? It was green. I don't care how racist he is. If you going to pay me, yeah, all right then. I don't care. That green was the color. And he paid me well.
And it's like you always come back to our favorite word, consistency.
Consistency.
And that's so hard for us to catch a hold of in the black community, is consistency from the church down. We talk about, we started cleaning the church and then we'll slip off on that. We start cleaning the neighborhood and we'll slip off on that. We start talking good community, black things, and we'll slip off on that. We don't have the consistency that we need. If, like he said, if we get out there and we start picking up the trash or start cleaning up our neighborhood, we have to be consistent for people that don't have that mind to catch a hold. Like, man, they always, let me
do it one time.
You know what I mean? They're always out here trying to make it look better. Let me help. If we don't have more minds like that, then it's going to remain the same. It's going to remain the same. I want to just leave off on this. I'm still, my mind was still pondering on the system designed to fail. And I understand that, but and just help me out, because I know it's a lot of young people here who remember the Nintendo game.
Stop.
Mario Brothers.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Mario. Okay, so when you play Mario Brothers,
Modern Mario or Mario?
Mario Brothers. You know, the basic one with the the one that don't have all the 3D and stuff. When you play that game as a beginner, you just doing the basic things. But once you get good in it, you know the ins and outs. You know, if you jump behind that box, you'll fall down into the next level. You know all of that. And so what I was saying is that if we're not educated generation after generation on how to beat the system, then yes, it fails for us. But I can ask y'all in the audience right now, because I know I was taught how to play the system to stay on welfare. Many was taught that trick, right? Okay, look, you need to tell them it's this many people in your house so you get somewhere stand. So you need to tell. So we were taught the tricks of how to stay in the system on the bottom level, but we need those to come in and educate us on how to get on the top of the system. That's why I was saying that I wouldn't necessarily say that it's designed for us to fail. Yes, we can fail in it if we don't know the ins and outs on how to play the game, and that's for lack of a word, because I don't want people to think that life is a game. It's not a game, but I'm just saying the system was designed for a particular person and a particular a particular thing to happen. So yeah, it wasn't designed for us, but if we play it right, it can benefit us. Like the two men up here, they saying they own their own business. So and Lamar could have been one of the statistics that did fall in the system and didn't allow himself to get up. But he's showing us right now, even after them trying to medicate him, that he was able to get on top of the system. So what I'm saying, if we know how to play the games, and we know the tricks and the ins and the outs on how to do the little special turn kick and all of that stuff, then it can work for us. You know what I mean? I don't, like my husband said, we don't want us to wake up every day and say, oh, the system is here for us to fail. Oh, I'm a victim. Oh, I'll never make it. If we keep putting that in our children, then it'll be harder for them. But if we become the businessmen and businesswomen that this system do allow you to become, and if we teach them, don't be a criminal, don't go out there and start trouble, don't do this, that, or the other, then it can work for them. That was my own thing.
And I totally agree. And what we're going to do in the next panel that we're going to do, and I'm probably not going to wait for a month for the next panel, because like I said, it's one month. But the thing is this is what I'm saying, is this, because I know we got close, but that is true. My wife said a lot of wise things, and she's right. I think we're going to talk about the system because there's different parts of the system. And you have what you call the judicial system, is the system that really, if anything is said to hurt us, is more of that. Because that's what puts your weight. Because there's certain level of crime that are done by us, they are put more penalty on than it does a white person. So that's what I'm saying. Now that system is designed to be against us more than any other system. And then again, if I was to say to beat that system, the only way to beat that system is that you have to become productive and learn the system and how that operates. Yeah, yep. My gentleman's classes, you have to learn how to be a part. See the thing is, and I gotta go, because we're gonna do this. It's gonna be on top of this, because that's a good topic. Because if you take our young people and they're doing the crimes that they are doing, the crimes are putting them in prison with the maximum sentences. Now this is what gets me about our people, the older folks. You know this. Why would you not teach the young how to stay out of trouble? Because it creates that where you going to get yourself in trouble, and then so crime, killing, robbing. Still, they gave him 10. He got out at 6.
So they gave me 10 to 30.
10 to 30. It's America that he's out. So we know that if the judicial system act this way against us, why are we not unified to start taking that? Why is that money's not coming? You say you're trying to change these laws. You know, the system, even with all this margin, is still what it is. I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because they put that Somalian man in prison the other year in Minneapolis. And it did not take this much struggle. As a matter of fact, how many people was really paying attention to that case? Nobody really wasn't paying attention to that case. So if you wanted to help that Somalian brother, and I'm speaking to you Somalian community too, you need to be ashamed of yourself. You notice we allow ourselves to get into the system like this because all of those that come over from any part of the world, you get hooked into that system. Now the Somalian community, now you know, not enough of y'all stood behind that police officer. And I don't know that man's name. What is his name? Whatever, they know who his name is. And you know what? I looked at the case. That man, it was an accident. But then you're going to get some white couple from out of this country sue us so quickly. But you still fighting for the police officers because they white. So that's what I'm saying. I am against the racism because you saw this man get killed on television. I'm on camera. That's an open and shut case. What else is there to say? You should get sued and get fast action just like when that lady died. And they locked that Somali. They should let that police officer out. But why the police officers didn't fight or get behind him? He was a police officer too. So all these police officers say there's no racism in you are something wrong with you. And you black police officers. Oh, I'm ready to get on this topic next week. Why did not you black police officers back that man? You Somalian community and you black police officers did not back that man. They should let him out. Why don't y'all say free him? You see how lost we are as a people? White folks got behind that white police officer. And the chief of police in Minneapolis ain't had that much power. Because when they went out to go to that man's house, the police department left their duties. They post and went in front and to police that man's house. Although the chief of police said, that, meaning you ain't saying nothing, that meaning nothing to us. Where was the police officers to support that last? You so fast to say when he was getting crucified, you so fast to say we're gonna have justice. No police officer has the right to do what he did. It was an accident. That Somalian police officer killed that white woman not because he wanted to. It was an accident. But Chauvin, it was not an accident. He put his knee on that man's neck and killed that man. Period. Period. So is that judicial system? Go ahead, one last thing you want to say. But you forgot.
It was, yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do is, what I'm going to do is get with the board or whatever like that. I'm holding more than once a month for a little bit, whatever time we can fit in. We thank those of you that have came out. We thank those of you that had came and looked at us by airwaves, and hopefully you shared. If not, that's just the way people are. They don't share. And that's another thing about black folks. If they are not a part of something, if it's not all about them, they don't support each other. Europeans are totally different. They support each other on issues, and it should go live because I'm sitting back in the cut, and I'm just sitting back in the cut, and I'm just waiting to see more so what's happening. I'm active, but I'm sitting back in the cut. I want to see that what type of change is going to come in our community. Everybody hollering for it. Is real change going to come? Is we going to raise these babies right? Those of you mothers and dads that know your children, and let me tell you another thing about your OGs. You are just you are disgusting to our neighborhood. You put guns in these young people's hands. You are disgusting. Yes, you are. And it's time for the good people in our community, the church people, to stand up and defend themselves. Stop letting them make you afraid of them. Defend yourself. Over there, I think it was Florida not too long ago, the other week, in Polk County or one of them counties. And that's why I do like some parts of the South. Because he said, if you're going to ride and go into their house, he was the chief of police, and they probably call him racist. He wasn't racist. I agree with him. And if you come into their house, they are armed and they will shoot you. And I say, amen to it, brother. And I don't care, he's my white brother. Amen. We need, because let me tell you something. They have nothing to do with it. These gangsters, let me tell you something. They taking people's cars, it's not their car. And the only reason why they're taking it is because the older folks is telling them, take it, bring it over here, I'll give you some money for it, and whatever. That's the only reason why the young people are doing it. They're not taking these cars just to joy ride in. That's why I'm telling you, young ladies, be careful for where you drive in. They try to take it, run them over. I'm a preacher, I'm going to tell you that. Y'all be careful. Because these children don't know no better. They got guns put in their hands because they juveniles, and you coward. Coward. These gangsters, some named gangsters, you are not real gangsters. That's some coward stuff. When we was coming up, you fought with your hands. You got to use a gun now. And you have no sympathy, no pity for your community. And it's a shame. But nothing will be done until somebody that's in there. And those of you that can't get out, get out. I'm going to take it out. Well, you leave the community, you leave taking everything from the community. Who wants to keep anything in there and you can't even operate? And if you are there, because they say there's no too far stretch, leave. No, leave or fix it. Everybody has the right to live a free life without any harm done to them. Everybody, black, white, Puerto Rican, whatever you are, you have the right in this country to live free. And this stuff is how I'm so sick of the news. Every time I turn on, another person died. Innocent babies, innocent women at stoplights and stop signs over some crazy nut. They don't care about how black you are. And they black too. They have to care. And I encourage you to live the best that you know how. Amen. Amen. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for coming. We done.